My sister ruined my credit, so I ruined her entire life. My selfish sister had always been the golden child of my family, so I'm happy I could be the one to finally ruin her once perfect life. She was a rainbow baby and my parents' miracle, so she was always spoiled and given special treatment when we were growing up. I am 21 and my sister is 18. After she was born, my parents gave me way less attention and started to spend all their time and money on her and would just ignore me. They bought her whatever she wanted, and if she wanted something of mine I had no choice but to give it to her no matter how hard I cried. Even when I was in high school, and I started to buy my own things, she would let herself into my room and use my stuff and sometimes break things. Even after she broke both my PlayStation controllers on the same exact day, my parents didn't punish her or pay me back even though I had bought my PlayStation with my own money. Ever since she was a child she always threw loud tantrums where she threw herself on the floor, broke things, and screamed at the top of her lungs until she got whatever it was that she wanted. My parents made me pay for my own phone bill and my own school and sports supplies all throughout high school because they spent all their extra money on my sister and whatever clothes or electronics she wanted. They buy her a new iPhone every year and I still use my phone from 4 years ago. I always knew my sister was a spoiled little brat with no future, but I didn't know just how evil she was until this month. I finally saved enough money to finally move out of my parents' house and get away from my toxic little sister. I've had it with her breaking and stealing my stuff and I couldn't wait to live on my own. Anyway, I started looking for apartments and it was through this process that I found out my credit score was in the effing 200s, despite me never opening a line of credit in my entire life. If you don't know anything about credit scores, that is a dog's T-score, and it meant I wasn't going to be able to move out anytime soon. I went to the bank and it was there where I discovered that my little sister had opened multiple credit cards in my name. She had maxed out every card she opened up and hidden all the credit bills that had been coming in the mail for me. I had never been so unbelievably angry in my life. I came home and showed my parents proof of what she had done. I wasn't even surprised when they defended her and said she was just a kid and probably didn't understand what she was doing. I had enough of them and I confronted my sister. I called her a useless, selfish bitch and I told her that she was going to pay for all this. I told her that she was finally going to learn about the real world and that I didn't care if she was my family. She was a legal adult now and I was going to sue her off. My sister thought I was bluffing. She laughed in my face and said that my money was her money because I was her family and that's what family is for. I left the house for a couple of days and stayed with a friend. I talked to a lawyer and had my sister served with court papers. I shut off my phone when my parents started blowing it up after my sister was served. I went home the other day to pack some more things and my sister was red in the face, crying and begging me to drop the case against her. She threw herself on the floor and everything despite her literally being a legal adult. She was kicking my door as I packed and screamed at me that I couldn't do this to her and that she didn't deserve it. She said she would be ruined before she even graduated high school and this time I laughed in her face. My parents also begged me not to sue her. Again they said she was just a kid. I told them that they hadn't cared about me at all when I was just a kid, so why the hell should I care about my sister? I'm suing her for every last penny that she stole from me, and then I'm never speaking to my family until the day I die. Update: it's been a long time since I made my first post, and things have only gotten more chaotic and depressing since I first found out my sister had completely destroyed my credit. I had been trying to move out on my own when I found out that my sister had maxed out a bunch of credit cards in my name and tanked my credit before I even had a chance to use it in my own life. A lot of people were completely correct and guessed that my parents had given her my social security number, and that's how she was able to open all of the credit cards without my permission. I still have no idea why they gave her my social security number. Part of me thinks that maybe they were all in on it together and that they shared the money that they got from the credit cards. I honestly didn't even care and I didn't even view those people as my family, just criminals who tried to ruin my life for their own selfish reasons. That's why I didn't feel bad at all when I decided to serve my sister with court papers when she was only 18. I would have never been able to repay the debts and raise my own credit, so suing her was my only real option. My entire family begged me to drop the case and insisted that they didn't have the money for court fees or to pay me back, but again I really just didn't care. They had never cared about me, so I was just returning the favor. Things got really bad after the case started and my parents would constantly contact me saying that my sister's mental health was declining the longer the case went on. This really didn't concern me or affect my feelings at all since my sister had been the sole reason for my own mental health decline the entire time I had been living with my family. I only really started to feel bad for her when my parents started telling me that she had started doing drugs to cope with the stress of the case. As much as I hated my little sister, I would have never wanted her to be dealing with serious substance abuse issues. My parents said that she had gotten really into taking pills and just spent all of her time conked out on Xanax. My mom called me on the phone one day crying saying that this was all my fault and that if I never took her to court then she would have never started doing drugs. This honestly was a really upsetting call and I cried afterward too. Just hearing my mom blame me for my sister's problems made me regret everything that I had done, even if my sister was in the wrong. I thought I couldn't feel any worse until my dad called me a couple weeks later and said that my sister had overdosed and that they were with her in the hospital while she was recovering. They said that they had come home and found her unresponsive on the floor, covered in her own puke. They rushed her to the emergency room just in time to save her life. As soon as I heard this I knew that I needed to visit her in the hospital. At the end of the day, she was my little sister and it was breaking my heart to hear that she was going through this. But when I got to the hospital my parents freaked out on me and told me to leave. They even went as far as to have hospital security escort me out. Now I'm sitting in my car outside the hospital because, at the end of the day, I just want to be close to my sister while she goes through this. Now I feel that I should have never done this to my family and I wish I could just take it all back.